talk about spaceship. What about spaceship? Hello, everybody. My name is Jason Moore, and I'm from MakingStarWars.net, and this is my ghost friend Rob. Now, Rob, now chat to me. So, why are you a ghost when you ain't got to be a ghost?
What wouldn't you?
Well, I guess so. Yeah. But you
got-
you could just become like the hot 24-year-old version of yourself in the world between worlds. Think about it. Just consider it. I'm just throwing it out there. You know?
Do you mean
Unless,
the
really
oddly
fat.
CGI faced version? You can never win with this deep fake either. The problem is the minute you move your face, it falls apart. I think only Pee Wee Herman's been able to de-age himself somewhat accurately. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I don't. It. Did I know it was CGI? Yeah. Did the kids know? Do I care?
No.
Not really. It
Oh, I
doesn't
don't
really.
care, but I'm just
At
like,
this point, I'm like,
I think you can't win or lose with it, right? You know what I mean? Like if you're
yeah.
like, you just don't. What you do as a creative is you just don't hang your hat on this one. Like you're
Mhm.
damned if you put a 40-year-old Anakin in playing a 20-year-old Anakin, then you hear about that, which they tried it. Then if you de-age it, you know what I mean, and it don't look right, then you hear about that. I think the problem is they got that Luke in Boba Fett season 2 so good.
Yeah.
Not the first Luke, but sorry, was it no Book of Boba is when they got him good. The first
Yeah.
one, not so good.
First
Yeah,
one,
sorry.
not so good. Second one, pretty on. Without saying anything, because it's not my story to tell. Bespin has a story, and he's all. I might put it on Thursday. I might put it on Friday. I suggest everybody in the chat collectively tell him put it out Thursday. Put it out yesterday. Come on, it's a good one though, and it's going to be good. So if he puts it out Thursday, I think we'll have a fun show. I think we'll have
It's
a
getting
fun
too
show.
high on lightsabers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. No,
doesn't fit.
no. Honestly, though, to get back to like the thing that we're doing. Yeah. By the way, I was laughing when you said the first one because it was backwards. And I said it to him.
Right.
I was like,
yeah. Well, I did that first. I did that one on purpose because I thought it was really funny. Here, want to see? I did this one, folks, which is the obvious one. But I sent Jason. Check it out. I sent Jason. This is a good one, right? This is what happens. You don't have me on for like a week. Here, I sent Jason this one, which I thought was more accurate. Right? Like I like that's his struggle, right?
Bespin has options now. He has options now. And that's what I like.
I just feel like sometimes when he talks about his life, he's trying to light a lightsaber with the Zippo. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
not getting the result he wants.
But all things to go back to the show. This like episode in general, when I sat down, the walk-on character of the week, the big thing that like happens at the end, like that stuff, you can't buy my love with that anymore. Like I'm well beyond that. The episode was really, really fucking strong though. For as involved as it was, it never shot the bed. It was focused. It had multiple things going on at the same time. It kept track of itself. It was really, really strong.
I like 99% of it, but can I just bitch about the one thing and then we can just talk about how good it is for a second?
It better not be Shin's bangs because those bangs are very cute.
It's not her bangs, dude.
Okay.
Gosh darn it, this whole thing. See, I screwed up my whole.
Or did you? I kind of like this. I feel like I'm really sitting with you there. Okay.
All right. There we go.
It have
and
anti-pots?
Yeah, it's anti-pots.
Yeah, it needs anti-pots.
So yeah, it's anti-pots. So here's the thing, and this is just my critique of Star Wars for the most part, right?
Mm-hmm.
They really got to get some people who can write decent military shit. Only Tony Gilroy seems to get this. Like, a lieutenant, like talking to it. It's not the reserves. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, this is my problem. It's the worst in the sequel trilogy when they're like, we're not a military, we're a volunteer. Then you don't electrocute people for deserting if it's a volunteer non-military force. That's like, like that makes no sense. It's like saying I'm quitting the neighborhood watch. Shock them. You know, on this one, it's just the conversation. She should have just pulled rank, done some, you know what I mean? Like, I'm getting over here, we're over here, we go, and then she give him like a fucking blah 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 look. I felt like they were trying to set up a joke. Like later on, he's going to go and give them some cockamamie excuse, and we're going to have to sit through some awkward improv, which thank God we didn't have to do. So like that's my one thing. Even Ryan Johnson's not so good at the military stuff. So that's the one thing
so I don't even know. But
it's not good.
I will. Yeah. So, but having been in the military, I'm sure it's more annoying. And
the OT gets it pretty good for
Mhm.
a paramilitary unit. You know what I mean? But this is
Yeah.
even beyond a paramilitary unit. They're an actual republic. So it's like, does she own her ship, the Ghost, or does the Republic own the ship, the Ghost?
No, she owns it.
All right. So
Yeah.
look, I'm going to tell you, I once had to put on a whole parade for a general once, and they're the most pompous fucking pain in the ass motherfuckers there is.
Was it General Disarray?
I wish I could tell you it was something clever, but it was just some asshole and user back in 1999, and they get whatever they want. No one, a lieutenant doesn't go, "Hey, sir or ma'am."
Yeah. Well,
it's weird.
I'll give you while we're doing our era of general grievances.
Okay.
Mine is that they need to have am I using this right? The wherewithal to know when something is likely going to end up being a fucking clip in your ad campaign, because once a Webble, always a Webble. Fine in the show, perfectly fine. When she says it, lame, not the best line, not even a good line, but fine, because her and Carson Teva are just like, yeah, well, how's it going? Oh, I got this little green haired kid. He's a shithead. Okay, yeah, well, once a Rebel, always a Rebel. All right, homie, see you later. Right? So it's like, it's fine.
It also comes like 3 minutes after they dropped the Heir of the Empire line too, which is also the title. So you did two titles. Yeah. Like back to back, you gotta break that up.
No, but my thing is, when once a Rebel, always a Rebel is likely going to end up in the ad campaign for your show, have her do the one where she's like, once a Rebel, always a Rebel. Like, you could do different performances, different readings of the line. They clearly didn't have anything but the one reading on it, and decided to make it part of the ad campaign, which in the end, once again, in my opinion, Star Wars is making a really great, stellar show look like it's absolute shit on those ads. Like when she says that, it's
corny.
It's cringy. How about it's cringy, and it looks like corny. But everything I saw in the episode where it matters is good.
But Jason, people not that many moons ago complained about I Rebel. Remember how, you know what I mean? So it's like, you can't, if you complain about that and you're ignoring this one, you need to take a look at the man in the mirror, right? Man in the mirror.
It's true.
So, whatever. Other than that, like I said, dude, this show is super entertaining,
Yeah, I was going to tell
nice booty shot.
Baymax says, I like to see Sia naked. I think Bestman could probably help you with that, honestly. Anyways, the
Spin's other name is Dr. Skin.
Dr. Skin. Yeah. The booty bulletin that's his other
booty. Side. I don't like the booty bulletin.
I forgot to share this. When I was on that cruise, I recorded a whole 2 hour, not a cruise,
cruise.
Me and Tom went to the Galactic Star Cruiser. Recorded like a 2 hour video today, and I kind of like repurposed one of our old jokes. This guy, he's like, he has like a guitar. He's like, he has like a little amp and like his guitar. He's like, who wants to write songs? And I was like, oh, let's write a song about the bees of Naboo. And he's all right. And he starts playing, and I'm all, Naboobies. And he just fucking walks away. The dude just straight up walked away. He's like, I'm just not even dealing with this shit. But all right.
Trying to make a living, man. What are you doing?
Yeah. But the episode though, like the lightsaber fights, are just super solid. They're 1999 quality almost at times. They definitely have a lot of they're not as big as 1999, but they have it. They have a lot of that stuff. I think Filoni over the years, probably dealing with the animation stuff, probably had to go through what those animation cycles were for some of those moves, and they probably reused them several times. So I think whenever he goes to do these fights, I think he's able to be like, oh, this is like the this is the move that we want. And he probably knows what those things are and is able to effectively, because of that background, I'm guessing, be able to convey how to make those fights happen with the coordinator really well.
Yes and no. I would say that also, I mean, TikTok videos show up in your Instagram feeds. How many people put together pretty compelling, never seen before lightsaber fights? I wish they would just pay those people to do, for their coordination efforts. You know what I mean? And like, because I like the fights because they're more OT scaled, right?
Yeah.
So there's solid geography, location, solid editing, but it would be nice if one of them moved in a way that was totally different from the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is sort of a skill level difference between, say, Ahsoka and Sabine. Obviously, you can see that between those two fights, but you're not seeing like Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan, two completely different fights in 1999, right? Like you're up against something totally different. And
right.
That is where, to me, the Phantom Menace like excelled beyond
expectations.
And
the length at which it does it and how it keeps it at that level is pretty amazing. So Bespin and I, we were having before going to the super chat, we were having a conversation the other day, and I think my theory is maybe right. And we were like, our first thing we were talking about was, when that fight's going on, is the map still plugged in? Turns out, yeah, the map is still plugged in. It's downloading. They just have really bad Wi-Fi over there. But the thing that I speculated is when Ahsoka dies and she goes into the world between worlds, if they've already gone without her, she ends up there through the world between worlds. So she's going to pull a poltergeist. She's going to go in the fucking, garage, and she's going to come out in the new place. I think that's how she's going to get over there. Maybe the speculation on my part, but because that's always been one of the logistical issues that we had, and
right.
with the story. So I'm thinking that's how she gets through that time and space.
Right now, none of that is clear to the average person watching the
show.
No,
it's not supposed to be. That was supposed to be a lost moment.
Right.
That ending was supposed to be a lost moment for you. If you've been following Star Wars, you know what that was. And if you haven't, you're like, what the fuck? This bitch dead?
Think it would have been better if we had seen her fall into the ocean in a way that was like, clearly there's no way you survive that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, because I was waiting for her to just, the way they cut it, it's like a typical someone crawls back over the rock at the last second thing. Like it wasn't really like dead weight hitting. Hitting the rocky surface kind of shot.
This is purposely ambiguous because of what it's dealing with. Filoni's done this kind of thing before. We still don't really know on screen how Darth Maul came back. You know what I mean? Like, he gets to where he wants to go, and then knows that if it's fun, you'll fucking see the adventure through.
So that's the whole thing. Nobody's all weekend.
Nobody's going to be asking about what happened during the water because Anakin showed up. He knows if he gets you to the fun part, they don't question it. That's how he does it.
I get that. I'm just talking about like, the person who just tunes in to see a Star Wars and doesn't know about all this.
Stuff, right? Yeah. No, they have no fucking idea. No, but like I said, it was the way it was put, where it was put in the episode. It's definitely meant to make you go,
I just hope it's clarified a little better.
How they do that? How they do that?
If it just gets glossed over, I don't know. I don't know if that works. But I'm
going into.
I do want to say, hold on. Let me finish what I was saying. Now, I was all weekend long. I had some friends of mine, older friends, who they watched the Clone Wars, right? And they were the Rebels cartoons, and they were complaining about the Sabine getting gutted with the lightsaber and living, and I'm just tired of this. And I'm like, Darth Maul got cut in half. Like, I don't. I mean, like they cut him in half. He had the high ground and still got cut in half. And the dude's up walking around in your cartoon. So like, I don't know, like how you come back from being cut in half. I don't know.
well, no. That's once again. I mean, it's just like, I see the memes all day of people getting stabbed by Qui-Gon and going like, "Oh, what a bitch," compared to these strong female characters. And it's like Darth Maul got his dick cut off. His whole lower half is gone, and he's back, and nobody says shit about it unless it's like,
which is really odd. given Darth Maul's dick was a major point of the internet not too long ago.
But anyways, here's where I'm going with this though. Is Slim Shady give a $5 super chat? Thank you, Mr. Shady. Did Rebels epilogue scene with Ahsoka and Sabine happen before Ahsoka show? Just happened. Then they trained. The lore fell the similar scene. So basically, what I think it was is I think that that's just a slight different interpretation of these moments of this stuff. And in that scene, she's like Ahsoka the White, right? I'm just throwing it out there. She might come out on the other side of this experience, Ahsoka the White. She might leave the world between worlds in the new costume. And something else I'm just going to throw out there that I believe I know in all my little heart is I was told World Between Worlds is there, Anakin stuff is there, and then I was told what do you call it? She rides a Loth Wolf. And they're not going back to Lothal in this part of the show. So where does she get that shit? So I think that she might even ride that shit out of here.
Wormhole Wolf.
Wormhole. I mean, she might come out, with the new duds in the new galaxy on the wolf. Bespin, you said she wears white. Good on you, buddy. But I gave it a fucking wolf and traveling through space and time to end up where Grand Admiral goddamn Thrawn is. You want to go, bro? You want to go? Yeah, that's what I thought, man. Sorry, Rob. I don't like you to see me like this, but
see, you guys do one show together. You're already fighting.
Bespin's out of control. He's out of control. No, he did tell me she might wear all white, and I said after Labor Day. Are you serious? Right? That was just Labor Day, and you don't wear white after Labor Day, right?
Tell that to the clan when they were on Florida right after Labor Day.
Yeah, we were there when they were posting that shit up. I think wasn't with it for the record, not a part of it.
Right. Need to clarify that, Jay.
So here's what I think. I think that she's going to ride the wolf on top of the whale. The wolf is going to mate with the whale, and it's going to make hyperspace wolves. Because that's what they
does Rush start playing. I'm in a mean man. Take a banner. Right.
But yeah. Also, I liked when I liked when Sabine gave her a little bitch slap with the Force. Like it's all she could do. But I was like, all right, keep it going, keep going. That part was fun.
You like the booty shot? When she gets choked and the camera, right? I was like, I look for the booty shot like we used to look for Snarf and She-Ra cartoons or Thundercat cartoons, right? Like it's somewhere. You wait for it. Yeah. There it is.
But the when you get past all of the glam, the glitter, the lightsaber fights and all that kind of shit, the big moment was that no, Sabine isn't a good candidate for this thing. She doesn't do the selfless thing. She makes the wrong choice. She gives the map to the people that's going to bring back our fucking war on the galaxy, all because of her space brother, or boyfriend. I don't know. They're kind of painting it as being a brother. He does anyways, in that holo. So point being, yeah, she fucked up pretty good. And then he's like, come with me. And you think, oh, maybe they're going to, maybe he's going to try to get two hot Padawans. Because why not? Right. I mean, you're not following Jedi orders. You might as well be like, have all the hottest Padawans. That's what I would do. But he ends up putting
you
her in
on
cuffs.
To me, Wars.
Also,
you on to me.
What you would do, Filoni. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I like where you're going with this though, Filoni. You've laid out a lot of stuff that pertains to my interest in particular.
Yeah, he gonna be a communist. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you said it. Bespin says we need the booty shots from 3 and 4 for Jason's song. More booty, the better. Hey man, you got the song. Make the video. Make the video. I'll make more songs if you guys make the videos. I'll tell you that much. Because
I did some Photoshop work. What are you doing, Bestman? You do your
part. What are you doing, Bestman? We're saying Ahsoka wears white after Labor Day. Fuck you. Sorry, I got crazy. But Lisa, listen, we all know what happens with stepbrothers and stepsisters. Lana Rhodes taught me well. That's true. I'm sure Felonious D does as well. So it's all
you learn from George.
Chapter 6 is inspired by Pornhub. Oh, Filoni, no, you can't say that. You can't say that. But yeah.
Nah, I prefer X videos.
You mean the social media platform where you can also watch videos? That one?
The fact that we have to clarify that shows we're living in the dumbest of timelines.
Or I mean, yeah. I mean, well, I guess. Anyways, though, so we're like right now we're like mid-season in this show though, and it's looking like it's good. I mean, the whole time we were hearing just the general gist of all of the stuff. The first 4 were the part I didn't really. It seemed logistical. And the second 4 is where it sounds like it really picks up too. And
they could have opened fire on the ring though, right? Like they could have like thrown one laser shot off. Like they just kept going for it. Like shoot at that. That's not the good thing, right? Like
I think my reading of that thing though was when she the witch, what's her name? Morgan Elsbeth. When she's like, just go and go. I don't think they actually pose any threat to that thing. I think that thing is like a Star Destroyer in terms of its like size, in a way. And so it would be a little bit like
but even
X-Wing
just fired on a Star Destroyer, right?
Yeah, but I think that's just him being a dumb idiot though. More or less. Yeah. I mean, other than that one guy who shoots the circle tower thing to take down the shield on the Star Destroyer. Other than that guy, it was always a dumb idea. It was always pretty.
I'm glad the Rhodian spoke another language. And didn't have the I'm a Rhodian. Let's go get him. Thank God.
Here we go.
Yeah.
No. No. I mean, this show so far isn't doing the main failings of the other shows. It does.
Well, it did kill the one black pilot. Like, let's be honest, we're gonna hear about that one. Like,
yeah. No. It wasn't if he was the only black person in the show, I could see that being like a thing, but he's not.
Oh yeah, the lieutenant's he's got it coming too.
Oh, but that was the horrible moment in the show actually. When when the general, when she's like, I'm the general, you'll figure out something. He's like, oh God, oh gee willikers, oh shit.
I was scared to death. Oh, I was scared to death we were gonna get a scene of him trying to like make up a joke or something, like to that hologram people. I was like, please don't.
It really read like Filoni wrote insert witty line here and then just never did the homework.
It's just hard, folks. Look, when I see acting like that in Star Wars, it's just hard for me to believe that's the same universe as Andor or even Rogue One. Like, just hard for me. Even the original trilogy, you didn't see that coming from the Rebel Alliance, I get if it's something dumb like the Trade Federation. I just want some consistency in my groups of people, like some level of intelligence. I mean, to be fair, he is a lieutenant, so I have been on a lieutenant's tank and they are kind of stupid, so I'll give them that. It's just
the Filoni era of this thing with the rebellion is really laying out that we're supposed to really dislike the rebels who became or the New Republic. It's infected.
But we didn't have a chance to like it. That's my whole problem.
No.
We didn't get ever a chance, but people wanted to like it. You know what I mean? Like after that trilogy, and then we jumped right into the sequel trilogy with it's all shit. You're like, fuck, dude. Like,
peacetime is inherently boring in a series called Star Wars, so I'm fine with that. But
but it was peacetime until Leia. Look, man, this is where I got like I was listening to Vader's Lair show before, because they're all super. They're like, it's like going to like, I hate to say it, it's like going like to the Christian rock concert version of Star Wars, that show, right? Like everyone's super happy and positive. You could do no wrong, right? Like essentially everyone's
they're all enjoying
super
themselves.
and I'm like, and it's so against what I normally do. I'm like, I like this cult. This is a pretty good cult. Like,
they're all happy. Not as miserable as us over here.
No. Give it time. Yeah. But dude was mentioning that he never read Bloodlines. And I just got to come back to, like, it could have all been happy and everything until they find out that Luke and Leia are Vader's kids. That undoes every good thing. Like, that's a big enough man. If your entire perfect society was built on the idea that Hitler's kids made it, undoes everything.
Right, but that's like 29 years later, Rob.
Yeah, right now we got different. Look, I get that they don't want to believe there's another threat that can touch them, and they're wrong about that. Sure, yeah, that's fine. But we don't have to have a military that acts like they're the militia. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
In terms of their intelligence levels, you know what I mean? Like
that's what they're showing is that they're my ride's here again.
No, like Morgan Elsbeth's army's better coordinated and well spoken than the Republic dudes. You know what I mean?
Like, well, no, that's what we're gonna end up with. I mean, or what we're gonna end up with on the show are a bunch of candy ass popsicle eating idiots who are actually working next to fascists right next to them that are ready to slit their throats the minute that the blue guy comes back, and that, you know, is going to make it. I think that's going to make it worth it. And I would say it's when you combine that, like that moment, for instance, with the Mandalorian stuff, that's when you start to paint this picture of, it's like kind of cringy, kind of lame. But if I put my blinders on, if I put my blinders on though, and it's just what we saw here, then I'm like, this is fine.
I don't like vaguely cringy. I can't go back in time and change it, but I think the thing to do was to make a solid society that was building, even though it wasn't already right, but it was solid. And the big crack is this problem that nobody knew Vader and Luke and Leia are Vader's kids, you know?
Yeah, but once again though, that's a story that now is firmly rooted, like about 20 years later, actually. I think Kylo's well, how old is Kylo? He's a Padawan, Luke's Padawan at the time. So he's already like up there.
I know.
And so it's but it's like, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna do anything post Return of the Jedi now. There's always gonna be wars between Star Wars. Like there's just never gonna be like,
there's Salad the Hutts to fight. Salad, I mean, there's Vespers, you know, and apparently there's zombie wars, gas people, right? There's zombie gas people.
The great Vespa Wars of Tatooine. Yeah, and then the Marok thing. God, you guys, like I mean, what else could we have said like throughout the weeks though? We're like, is not anybody. I don't know. Nobody's ever talked about this guy. He's like not like an important thing, you know. And but my whole the question I have at the end of it is, you know, he dies, the smoke comes out. Somebody in the chat, I haven't got to rewatch Tales of the Jedi when that Inquisitor dies, but somebody was like, he's like a Wat Tambor guy. That's why the smoke comes out of him. And I was like, okay. So I haven't looked at that to like confirm it, but I believe that person's probably right. And so was that smoke our first sort of like hint about the witch using like resurrection, you know? Or
that's what I took it as, because it has to be relevant to the narrative of the show, not vague Star Wars lore that is that no one's gonna get but 3 people, you know, like it has to be tied into there's something she's a witch, and when her dudes die, they turn into ghost smoke, you know what I mean? Turn a little fart guy. Like there's something, you know,
the magic hex breaks and the thing dies because one of the things about one of the things about it is supposed to be a mercenary who works with with Balin and Shin, and a theory, I think I theorized this or was it a conversation with Best, but I can't remember, but is that Inquisitor hunted them down, they killed his ass, and then they know to go back where that guy was who they killed a long time ago, and then she resurrects him and like, now you work for us, and then that's what, you know, why he's there with them. And I mean it's a proximity theory about how it all fits. I wonder if that's what it is.
not for nothing, but we'll get to we'll read this super chat in a second, Stephanie. I do think though with the pacing of the show, I do kind of wish it was 12 episodes. I've been thinking a lot about this shows being as long as they need to be thing. And I gotta say, I've not taken a stance on it till now, but I did hear, before the strike happened, Iger and Kathleen Kennedy there was something about like what makes a Star Wars movie and a show kind of conversation. There was something to that extent. And to me, I think shows should be a fixed length, whatever length you're going to do, and the movies should be whatever they should be for the movie. And you're just going to have to do more clever writing to get around filling the time. You know what I mean? Sorry. Like, I just think there should just be something, a procedural, like, I don't want like I think about it like this. It's the difference between a comic book and a graphic novel. Graphic novel is as long as the graphic novel needs to be. But I'm not like, oh, if this month it was 16 pages and next month it's 24, you're unhappy, and it's happened in the past. You get real mad about that, so it's like you want the procedural to be the same length. If it's 32 minutes or 42 minutes, whatever it has to be, I think probably financially they'd probably put it at 37, at once. But
at once,
but I think I'd rather get 37-minute long episodes at 10 or 11 episodes in this rando thing we're getting now.
Yeah, well, we know what happens in the next 4 loosely, and we know how it culminates and stuff. At least we think we do, and so it seems like he did what he needed to do with those 8 episodes. Is what I would say at this point, though. Just we've seen half of it now, and we know some of the content. So yeah, I mean, I'm more of you don't do the 8 when you don't need the 8 like Mando did. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't really like,
but that's a story. You bring in people that can tell a good story. You can tell a good story. I mean,
I'm
still
saying
there is a certain level of it. Again, these things don't get into like Strange New Worlds is still like a procedural where there's sort of a storyline, but the storyline's going across characters' lives, not so much a big bad, like, Buffy had a big bad, but intermixed with like procedurals. I sort of feel like they can't say we don't want to make a movie, but then make basically a movie. You know what I mean? Like that's the problem. Like Star Wars isn't. If there was never any movies and if this was just series, then fine. This conversation's moot. But when Star Wars does finally go back to being on the big screen, other than being on the big screen, what makes the difference? And and I think 40-minute long, 10-episode things, that maybe are paced totally different than the films is what makes a show versus the movie,
Yeah. So haven't seen this one and Filoni's ability to do that film. You know what I'm saying? With the time that he has. But Stephanie says, thank you, Stephanie, for the $10 super chat. Says, I love this episode. I'm so excited for next week. They had me at the Rock'em Sock'em fight at the beginning. I thought the lightsaber fights were awesome, and the Hello Snips sure gave me the vapors. Yeah, that was nice. And so in a weird way, I always liked the early episodes of Clone Wars, but like the Snips and Sky Guy thing was always a bit like kind of a lot, especially when I don't know how to do our Stephanie, but like, I'm like 28 or something when that finally comes out. I can't remember now, something like that. So I'm like, oh, okay. Him calling her Snips is it plays fine, but the Sky Guy thing, it was like always like a weird one. But when he does go the Hello Snips thing, I'm like, yeah. In a weird way, it kind of like elevates that old thing now for me in a strange way. Whenever I hear Snips, I don't think I think it's going to be less in the cringe space. It's kind of weird how repetition and then appropriate use can actually like make something more palatable, like on that one right there. And it's really nice for us Clone Wars people to get like solid callbacks to that kind of stuff. And thank you. I'm glad that you felt the same way I did about it, Stephanie. And thank you for the super chat. And but we have huge breaking fucking news. Huge fucking breaking news. Sith Care Bear likes this shit. Sith Care Bear. I was like, I like Sith Care Bear, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, he hates the air. He hates the Star Wars air. But he says, I love this episode and I'm very much enjoying this series. I'm really, really happy for you, dude.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Brandon says Iger and Kathleen Kane are not creatives and don't know anything about making amazing Star Wars series.
Yeah.
Nothing. They don't know anything
because they don't actually do it. That's why. They are not creatives. Bob Iger is not a Star Wars creative. He has never contributed one creative decision other than things about marketing and signing checks, probably, when you get down to it. Metaphorically, release dates. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
yeah, well, they make the decisions though, so you better appeal to their better nature.
Well, yeah, I mean,
even Lord Miller can get fired.
He's all that Ahsoka. Good work, man. Good work.
I like that.
And we've heard it before, but and if you don't like the end, you could call it, this wasn't Ahsoka, this was Ahsoka. So you kind of got it like lined up for you if you love it or you hate it. So it's definitely good. And say hi to old Shanti for us. But yeah, good. I mean, pretty good times though, man. Like I don't. What do you have? We had Smoke Monster Man from Lost, who's an Inquisitor, and then we had Sabine.
We had a robot fight, which was nice. We haven't seen a robot fight.
Hyung could fucking take a punch and give one.
Although you think for a guy who trains in lightsabers, he'd have one. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, ain't no Jedi though. That's not.
He doesn't need to be a Jedi to use a lightsaber. Like clearly Sabine isn't. She can use one.
Jedi regulation.
If you're training Jedi to use lightsabers, then you should be able to use one in a fight. That's all I'm saying. Like
Bespin says, I'm so happy that Marok was a clone of Ezra and his real name was Starkiller. Yeah, I gotta.
What if he had pulled out? What if he had pulled out the little training saber things he was using in episode 2? I was like, oh shit! What am I gonna do with these? Classic teachers don't do. They teach, right? When you can't do it, you teach, right?
Yeah, those who can't teach. Right. Yeah, I know. Once again, Sith Care Bear says it was great. He says it was great to see Marok was nobody, and that's exactly the whole thing. Was the whole time. I mean, it's just like it's so obvious that he's like the guy you can kill because you can't kill the other ones yet, or at all. And then there was nothing, not one fucking thing in the narrative that goes like that was a red herring. Who is Marok? You were not supposed to be asking that. And if they're not, and with Star Wars, it's so obvious when they are making you ask that, it's obvious. I mean, after the sequel trilogy, you know what it is. After, so many of these things, it's like, they're just like finding something where there's like nothing there. Like all of a sudden he's going to be like, who are you? He's like, somebody who loves you. And it's Starkiller or Ezra Bridger. I was here the whole time. I was in deep cover.
Young Rob was mad at that movie. That isn't Princess Leia.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's just weird to me, that like how the fandom goes. And then thankfully though, the episode was so good that I don't think the fact that it's nobody will matter. I have very little faith in humanity at this point, but I do think that there's a good chance that people will just let it go and move on this one. But if they can't, they're fucking stupid. I'm just to be honest. If you are hung up on that and you can't get past it, you're fucking stupid because nobody told you that was anybody and nobody told you to think it was anybody. The narrative didn't do a bait and switch red herring on anybody. They just got crazy. They just fucking went batshit insane.
I love it when they go,
who it is. It's weird.
I just want Starkiller in the series. I'm like, Starkiller is in the series. It's a whole base. They made him a planet.
They made him a fucking planet. Thank you, Rob.
The whole movie.
They made him a winter Death Star. Come on, man. What else do you want? Star Wars Santa's
Starkiller the White. Like the white planet.
Yeah.
Also, not for nothing, I wanted Hyun when he was hitting that dude to go Hyun, like when he hits him, like how Austin Powers does the karate chop.
Sorry.
Yeah, Hyun can. He can shoot out a fireball because he's a robot. He could have he could do the move, right?
Oh yeah, he can do it on his ass too. He can do it wherever he wants. Probably he does kind of look like he could be like a fighter in Tekken, doesn't he? Like he'd be fighting that like Tree Man or something. I could kind of see that, like him kind of fitting
Tekken
into
3.
that. Tekken 3.
Tekken 3 had that robot like posing,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A peculiar set of movements.
Yeah.
Tekken 3. Yeah.
But the environment and everything was nice and looked good. That world looked good for as like limited as the sets were in it and stuff like that. That was an excellent use of the volume. Filoni knows how to use the volume. I mean, he should, but he does. You know what I mean? They all should, but they all haven't, have they? But he does.
No. Favreau's 50-50.
Favreau, I mean,
sometimes Favreau's like, let's just use our backyard. Let's just go right in the backyard and have Boba Fett fight some dudes on some rocks.
Sorry, I was adapting a live action CGI version of the Rescuers Down Under. Okay, it's cool, man.
I had good animation. I don't shit on that movie. Like,
no, I'm not shitting on the movie. Like he did the Jungle Book and the Lion King live action CGI
giant
adaptations.
Eagle. Man, if giant eagles show up in season 4, I'm gonna get really mad at you.
Yeah. Well, that happened last season, The Mandalorian. So you got it there.
It's lived in the eagle's belly for a whole night.
Yeah,
got me.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the like rest of the show now has to deal with that.
Good music when they cut to the fleet. By the way, good change.
And Home One.
Yeah, no, that was good. Yeah, the musical cue change was pretty good.
The jumping the lightsaber shots or light speed shot was cool, and also as was like when the ships collide because of the blast when it does take off. Though we haven't really from memory of seen anything like that in live action.
Holdo,
where they get no, not the Holdo maneuver, where they get like jet washed essentially,
right?
Like and then crash into each other and blow up and stuff. Like that was
that is the Filoni referencing other Star Wars to make Star Wars make more sense, you know. So
and then
what he does.
And then we got and then we also had something else. The Kevin Kiner music. It's been solid the whole time. The dude knows his shit. The Balin scenes were fucking super good. His dialogue was good.
Yeah, he was super good. I think for me, he's the standout of the show. Like, to be honest, I could just watch the Balin show.
I know.
Like, why does the one motherfucker I love gotta already be dead, dude? Like, this is so fucking unjust. This universe.
And like I was saying, was it you who said it that like Clancy Brown is the only guy who could like replace him?
Yeah. And they put him in the show.
That's got to be it. But
you motherfuckers.
Yeah. At the same time, maybe when Clancy Brown gets grows the full beard out and gets in the costume, we can just go with it. I don't know.
Maybe we could put Ewan in a fat suit, or
maybe they could just make the story that Balin is his twin brother. You know. That's
I know.
One became a Jedi, one a rebel resistance leader. You know, I mean, I'm okay with that, I guess. But yeah,
his name is Galen, and he's super happy to be here.
No, hey,
he comes out like Rip Torn. Hey, everybody,
Rip Torn.
Rip Taylor. Sorry.
No. I want the uncle from Bewitched, and Filoni actually did an homage to him in Clone Wars, by the way. Bestman says Marok just transferred his essence into essence to another body, Snoke's body. Smoke equals Snoke.
I was thinking Noob Saibot. Right?
Yeah, Bestman Bolton is a psyop. He's a Star Wars psyop, everyone. Just so you guys know. Star Wars psyop. But Balin, I mean, God, it is really like I knew he was going to be good because I've seen him in so many things over the years, and he's always good.
Paul Lynde, that's the rap from Charlotte's Web, right?
Yeah, Paul Lynde, was
the uncle in Bewitched. Paul Lynde. Him and Rip Taylor got the same affect.
Yeah. They did a whole thing with Paul Lynde in Clone Wars. Marek just transformed his essence. Oh yeah, I already read that one. So hey, how's it going, Paul? Says I'm currently live streaming too, but I love you too. Tonight's episode was ridiculous, like ridiculously good, or like ridiculously.
He likes everything.
He does like everything, doesn't he?
Paul likes everything.
So it would be. But what if, because our friend who hates everything likes it, maybe he hates this one. Maybe the tables have turned.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I'll stop it.
I think Paul doesn't like the Dark Knight though. Like that's the thing where he goes, "It sucks. You don't know what you're talking about." You know.
All right, I'm trying to. Best Ben is trying to bring something to my thing. So okay, what is this right here? Real Ben Maynard says. Also, to be fair, do people like you and Best Ben have a bias against speculation just because you guys know what's coming? Since you're insiders, like, I'm straight up with the stuff. So yeah,
it's a good question.
No, that's like fair. I think though what it kind of, well, like for instance, like not to, like there was a guy on Reddit who was leaking a lot of the stuff, right? On these episodes right now. And so not to try to like co-opt that person's material, but we've known things about the show for like a pretty long time. And as we're like putting it out there, you start to get a picture of things. And then when those people follow us, or when the people who follow us and then make a lot of money off of us and then grift off of that stuff, then go out and put bullshit ideas out into the thing, that's when it like really gets me annoyed. Like for instance, like this Inquisitor guy, if he was anybody super like fucking important, then when I got like to the end stuff and all the other shit, it would have been like would have obviously been a thing that would have come out, and it wasn't. So it can be a little bit annoying when people who follow along all of a sudden disregard and then go like if you've been following my stories, just forget everybody else, just my stuff. And I'm like, Ezra Bridger, they are together. All three of them are together at this point, blah, blah, blah. Why would you think he was the Inquisitor in that episode? Like it's right. Literally impossible. So I like speculation and I like theorizing. And as Bestman says, we speculate, I theorize and speculate, which isn't every night. However, we don't bother speculating about things we consider insignificant, like Marok. Or if we do, it's not just like, who can we decide killed Kennedy? Who was behind Lee Harvey Oswald? Like, you could just name names, but that's
some
not
guy
really
named Chuck. He was just peeking over his shoulder. What you doing, Oz?
No, there's some people that'll be like, oh yeah, it was definitely Nixon.
Bleeding over him.
They just come up and then they're like, well, that's a theory. But it's like, yeah, that's not a good theory though. That's not a good theory. And if I think if you're a content creator, like it's fine to speculate. It's fun to speculate. It's got to be clear you're speculating, but also you can speculate. You can speculate responsibly. Like
I agree with all of that.
Yeah.
I think my thing though, Jason, my cynicism to speculation from especially modern speculation comes from the inconsistency of argument from the people doing it by and large. In that, I'll give you an example. After the JJ films, I had to hear from the majority of every YouTube channel say, tired of mystery box, just give me a straight up story, give me straight, stop with mystery boxing, stop with member berries. And then anytime something new comes out, who's this character mystery box? Who's this character secretly going to be? Is this a reference to that? Why isn't this a reference to that? Why isn't that a reference to that? Where's my member berries? Like it's that, that's my frustration. It's like when they're like, I just want a Marvel movie that's about this one character and blah, 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 blah. And then meanwhile, when it comes out, why didn't they reference this character and that character? And where's the X-Men? And how are the mutants tied in? It wasn't got nothing to do with all that. So like, there's this really weird inconsistency in, and normal fans who just having fun.
Rob,
I get it. But
no, but I mean, but like, like from like that kind of thing right there. If you just look at like social media, then you're gonna just keep seeing dumb things because either they're really dumb adults or they're children, and so it's like there will always be like both of those like competing kind of ideas will always be present. My thing though comes when it's like big YouTubers who should fucking know.
That's what I'm saying.
Big YouTubers who should, if you're gonna be, if you're fucking rich and you do YouTube, especially those ones, learn how fucking movies are made. And then some of these motherfuckers know how movies are made and then get extra stupid because they know that they can like take a 12-year-old, turn them upside down, and shake the change out of their fucking pockets.
See, but that's what I was saying. Know how movies are made. My hope is that our audience, everyone hanging out here with us, is here to have a real educated conversation about how these things are made, not how they wish they were made or somehow in their head how they should be. Like, I have a feeling how they should be done, but there's a reality to production. There are really big compromises that have to be made all the way from the top to bottom that are unforeseen.
Unless
that you just don't even understand.
Right?
Unless you're James Cameron. Hey, look, people have been trying to be the next James Cameron, and no one's been able to pull that one off, right? Look at Michael Bay. He tried so hard with that stupid Pearl Harbor movie. Remember that one, Jason?
They call me the James Cameron of the bedroom. They don't. They really don't. They really don't. They never have. They never will. They never. I was with one of those one time. It was like a hot dog down a hallway. Brilliant. Bestman Bolton says some content creators will encourage speculation for insignificant things for views and interactions. Ultimately, they can raise your expectations too. We try to be realistic. And and that's like the whole thing is that some of these cats like will go in like one of the most egregious ones that me and Bestman saw just this week. I hope I'm not dragging you into anything, but was that leaker on Reddit is like motherfuckers smoke, right? Okay, you smoke. Oh, then the tweet comes out. Oh God, I just have this like theory. And you're just like, fuck you fucking Reddit reading fucking little baby. I just want to fucking anyways. It's infuriating. And those people. So that kind of the quote speculation. There's definitely a wide spectrum of stuff I think is fucking cool, creative, and fun. I think the thought exercises can make some potential future writers or even current writers better writers and storytellers. And so I definitely like encourage it and appreciate it. It's just not like when the speculation about who Marok is, when the narrative has not actually ever given you one reason to question it. That stuff is just, it becomes tiresome and boring and stupid because I know it's not going to pay off. I know it's a conversation that goes nowhere. And like one of the reasons I like leaking Star Wars information is the fact that I want to have interesting conversations where we do dig into things, where we do speculate about how this stuff is going to go. Like all of the spoilers that we had and then the episode tonight and everything like that. I'm like, oh, is Ahsoka going to end up where she needs to be through the World Between Worlds? I think that's, for me, that's the kind of speculation where I'm like, yeah, how is that going to happen? Let's think that through. What could it mean? How could it work? And so all of that stuff is fascinating to me.
Is Carson going to be busted down like in Top Gun?
Right.
You're going to pull him into the room and Michael Ironside's going to be like, I told you not to go on that mission. It's the Moncal version of Michael Ironside. Right?
Okay, check it out. It's the fucking ghost, right? The ghost is parked. Chopper, he's outside. He's looking down. He's just straight looking down. Okay, and then we pan over. We're sort of like the camera like goes over, and then we see Jason Syndulla, and he's like there, and then Hai Young walks up, and he's like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Mom has to make rent," and then we see Carson Teva walk out, and he's like putting his jumpsuit on. You're like, "Oh man, Carson Teva and Hera, because she needs to make general rent." But that could happen, man. It could go that way.
You don't have time to think up there. Like that kind of
I was thinking of the Forrest Gump. When Forrest Gump's mom needs to keep Forrest in the school.
Yeah.
Bestman says making content constantly using Starkiller and Ezra as possibilities for who Marok is gets people a lot of views and interactions. Lucasfilm never pushed a mystery, fans did. Yeah,
and then what's crazy is they keep giving them fools money and time, expecting different results, as their own fandom. I just look at all of that aside. I said this once before on the show, and I'm going to say it again. As a fan, I just learned my lesson about speculating after the Matrix sequels. When I saw Matrix 2, I was actually a defender. I'm like, yep, it's long, it's bloated, but the card cheese sequence was really great. The Morpheus where he pulls out the katana, right? I still think that shit is dope.
Nobody remembers that movie
thought the ending
at this point.
I thought the ending The ending had Neo like affect a robot in the real world, and I figured that must mean there's matrices within matrices. They didn't escape the matrix; they escaped a matrix to go. The matrix let them think they escaped a matrix. He's still in it, and then I was like, "That's clever." Nope.
Yeah.
No, he's just super. He's Jesus. You know, it is fucking stupid. Like, you know. So I just learned my lesson. Just let's see what they do, and let's critique what they do, and then maybe we can have an opinion on what we thought they could have done. But if the speculation just leads to severe disappointment, I feel like you rarely go, that was such. I'm really glad they thought better than I did. You know, like I don't know. I just as a fan, I don't do it.
Rob, sometimes I think you wait for me to cough and then you just said I'm gonna stop then. Because if I wasn't coughing, you would be talking right now. Do you do that to me, Rob? Do you do that to me? Is that what is that your game? Yeah, but Ben says the problem with fans is they can't leave expectations at the door. Did I have fun with the Star Killer idea? Yeah. Was it fine how they did it tonight? Of course. Many fans can't leave it. Yeah, it's like, well, if Star Killer had been there, then he would have been brought back just to die. Because we needed somebody to kill, right? Like you can't kill.
Then they would have been mad that he got killed by Sabine and no Jedi. How? I mean, you know, the endless. I mean, they never think that through. You know, a guy shows up in a no-name suit with a no-name, right? He's a red suit. He's almost red in tone. He's going to die. Like I look at my dad's a dead motherfucker. You know, like one way or the other, that dude's gonna die, right? Yeah. And so, like, if that were Star Killer, you'd just be mad as shit that he died in some punk ass bitch way that Ahsoka killed us. You're not gonna get what they want, man. Again, this is the problem with Marvel, where you know, or the Marvel did their thing their way, and I'm glad for it. But the unintended consequences, we're still dealing with fans want every other thing that had nothing to do with what they're watching show up in their thing and tie into something that only 3 people know about. And for me, it gets so old. Like I'm over it. I'm way beyond it. Like I just want to watch Mando. I would watch 22-minute long episodes of Mando just having bounty hunter adventures with no overarching storyline. You know what I mean? Give me that weird procedural so you could just get really good at telling new kinds of Star Wars stories versus trying to rekindle the nostalgia fountain of you know what I mean?
But I mean, I agree with your point, but on tonight when that guy is doing something bigger, I'm cool with that too. You know what he's
right, but that's not what they're going for. What fans are looking
on this
for.
This one is leading into a film. They're going for that on this one.
Right. But a lot of the people who are saying this had their childhood on the Xbox 360 and they just want their childhood personified on the screen. They're not interested in what they're actually watching is the problem. You know, so whatever.
Yeah, Robert Sinclair says baseless rumor clickbait drives a lot of these channels anymore with no repercussions when they never pan out. View counts keep climbing and people's expectations are based off this content. Yeah, that's the you know, like when you do spoilers, you're gonna get some stuff wrong, just the way it's gonna go. You know, it eventually happens. Say enough things, something just won't pan out or something will change or whatever, you know. And then it's like that. But then you have the people who just continue like Mike Zero it all the way and, you know, still out there, still doing their thing. There is absolutely no ramifications for anything. And in fact, I would say you're more rewarded for being wrong than right. Is just the truth. Me and Bespin, I think, can attest to that. I think
unless you're consistently right, and then when you get one thing off base, then they go, see, that means everything you ever said was wrong, Jason.
That means he's fucking full of shit now.
Palpatine wasn't Kenobi. All your scripts that you leaked a month before it came out never happened, even though they all happened.
Yeah.
Verbatim.
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, no, but it is true though. I mean, like for the most part, they don't really remember the wrong things. They overall, like, and those channels that never get anything right, or those types who never get anything right, I should say. There is absolutely when you're wrong, even when they've lied, and it's clear that they just lied, nothing happens. Absolutely nothing happens. What could happen? I mean, you would have to have an audience that doesn't just care about like the cult of personality kind of thing, essentially. When you get down to it, like there's a lot of guys that just like want their Star Wars and film news brought to them by ESPN bros. I don't fucking get it. Because if there's anybody who knows less about movies and actual like analysis, it's ESPN style bros. It's just the fucking truth. And like you could go back and watch any of those types old shows and laugh about how their analysis is complete dog shit. Their opinions are dog shit, but they make somebody who's a little inadequate in their masculinity feel just a little bit more like a man when they're watching it for some fucking reason that I cannot.
Also, the universe
comprehend.
has always worked this way, you know. Like I was I had a buddy, he's a really great artist named Shelby Robertson, right? He used to work at Extreme Studios.
Yeah,
back in
I
the
taught
90s,
him everything he knows.
Right?
Yeah,
yeah, super good. He's streaming. And,
he's okay.
And I'm on a stream.
I expected more from him, but he's really coming. He's really coming into his own lately. You know,
he'd agree. And
I don't know. I'm sure he's fantastic. I'm an idiot. Sorry. Go ahead.
But he was like, "Why are you on my stream if you got 180 something thousand?" I'm like, Shelby, like, you just follow. I want to sit and watch someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
What they're doing. The people who know what they're doing generally don't have the most views because you're pandering to. Now we would call it an algorithm, but when we were kids, it was the audience. The comedies that took off weren't the real funny comedies. It was the ones that were pandering to the lowest common denominator. Let's be perfectly honest. It's why Alf ran out of its premise in 6 episodes? Like how long can you keep a puppet in one living room?
I'm just saying, Police Academy, 5 more films in a series. I'm just calling for it.
Well, you and I like to see the world burn, so we're a little bit different.
Oh, actually, what you just said kind of goes into that thing with Balin, where Balin kind of had that philosophy thing that we were talking about. Actually, Gilroy brought it up. I can't remember what he called them. He had a name for it. Tony Gilroy in one of his interviews, and Filoni uses it as a line in this. And the punks of the 70s believed it. They believed that make all, like when you see punks from the 70s, obviously it gets co-opted by actual white power people, but you'll see like more like swastikas and stuff. Their whole thing is let's make all of it not make any sense and let's burn it down because that's how we could get to socialist utopia. That's like the only way. He's kind of like going for that kind of thing. And there's always been that kind of stuff in like revolutions and stuff. And so I think Filoni might have had a conversation with Gilroy to get that line. I could be wrong, but my impression of Filoni and the times I've talked to him was that he was not necessarily a very political science-minded guy. Let's put it that way. You know what I'm saying? Right. And no, I mean he's just like
but he is a guy who seems to pay attention. Right? Like to talent. Right? He doesn't seem to be a guy who's like,
what was that? No,
you're talented. I'm not talking to you. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
It was
the problem is we listened to so many Tony Gilroy. I'm trying to remember where was it. It wasn't the Q&A with Jeff Goldsmith ones. It was
it might have been. It was about that time that we listened to it. It was when we listened to that one at least.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back.
It was like in that couple.
I'll dig it up for you. I'll dig it up.
Yeah, but it was like a word like insider, but it's not insider. It's something. It's something else. But yeah, I mean, but that's essentially what the punks believed, and there's like times, and what's weird about it is like today you'll see Johnny Rotten. Grant says Anarchy in the UK. You'll see Johnny Rotten as a Trump supporter, and people just think he got old to become a Trump supporter, and it's like no, this is exactly Johnny Rotten knows that Trump will destroy the world. And so he wants him to do it. Like he's perfectly fine with Trump becoming president because in his mind, it would take down an evil empire. It would destroy itself. He's like, do it. Let it cut its throat. And that's kind of where Balin's coming at this from too, in a different way. But we don't quite know where Balin's politics are yet. Not necessarily. Creative destruction.
I did have to turn on the
creative destruction is the punk term, Shane. But but there's actually a term for the actual people who do it. I'll remember it and I'll bring it up next show because it's not going to come to me tonight. I did a 2-hour show with Tom today. I did 4 hours of class and then watched an Ahsoka show. So my brain is gone already.
You got bought up by that galactic starship. Look at you. Look at you shilling.
It was good.
You just felt bad for you. Just you know how you like. I know why you're so against Tom Cruise. You're if he just hangs out with you one time, you're gonna be the biggest Scientologist ever. You're gonna be like, they got everything, Rob. This place is great. We should camp out here tonight. To try it out.
Dude, check it out, dude. I know this is gonna blow your mind. It turns out thetans are titties. They got all the titties. All things called thetans, and nobody knows. It's the best place.
Like, I thought they were fetans.
Oh, if that's what you like, they are fetans. Yeah, whatever you like.
Fetans.
But Michael Featon. But eaten with fetans. But anyways,
we did that. Eaten with Keaton. We did that.
We did Eaten with Keaton. That's Eaten with
Keaton. Yeah. Well, that's what I did 8 times. I mean, I saw that movie 8 times. I might go for a 9th. It's still in the theaters.
What, Flash? Saw Flash?
Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah, Mission Impossible.
Might go back this week.
Have you watched Flash since it's been on
no
Max or whatever?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I watched it again. Enjoyed it. The visual effects over time, the visual effects have become more annoying than the first time. Is the problem with it now? I'm not getting.
I've told you I had a problem with the production design from the beginning, and just.
Oh yeah, no, I know you saw that you had knowledge of that film before it was out, and I remember you didn't tell me anything too specific, but you were like, "Oh, I don't like the new Keaton." So, like, you were very specific about the design elements and stuff.
The production, the design, the material. I'm like, it's just weird. I'm like, the fact that the nose piece under his nose is open and not closed is just a giant problem for me. I don't want to see human nose. It just looks weird.
Well, how's he gonna blow his nose when it's got bat boogies?
It's got little holes. It's got holes.
He's good. Oh, right. KG to the rescue, accelerationist. Thank you, KG. Yeah, look into that. I actually kind of want to find that quote from him, and then someday do an episode on it, because it would be fun. There's just so many things you can talk about in terms of like resistance, punk rock, and Star Wars altogether, which are some of my favorite things.
Also, I haven't brought it up, but I like
good work, KG.
I like Balon's little like yellow LCD gauntlet glove thing. I don't know. I thought whatever that is, I like the. See, there's a thing about Star Wars I like, and it's in The Force Awakens the most, right? Because like Jedi doesn't do the best job of this. Dagobah does a good job of this. Hoth does it, where it takes a natural fantasy-like element, a robe, a castle, and then right in the darkness there's these blinking electronic lights, something that shouldn't be there. That's where it's like space. That's space fantasy. It's why when you watch Star Trek, the technology usually gets better as the shows get older, but in Star Wars, it should fundamentally really never change. Like it should always be sort of medieval with this piece of technology. And I think Balon's outfit, does a good job of looking like Kenobi level. Like when I say Kenobi, I mean A New Hope Kenobi level. Materials, but then that LCD watch thing looks pretty dope. Like it's a minor little bit, but like every time I look at it, I'm like, shit looks cool. Like it's tasteful. It's not over the top,
Yeah, his costume is really, really well done. Like just like overall, it does. It kind of reminds me of Luke Jedi, but it also reminds me of Darth Vader, and something I could see Dooku wearing if he had lived.
He could be Sora Sabath later era. I mean, if they had done Sabath or Sabaoth, whatever Sabaoth, that's exactly the what I mean. Like he could have played that as well, but
yeah. The term accelerationism was first coined by professor and author Benjamin Noyes in his 2010 book, The Persistence of the Negative, to describe the trajectory of certain post-structuralists, such as philosophy, who embraced unorthodox Marxist and counter-Marxist overviews of capitalist growth. Well, that's a mouthful. But English alt-right philosopher and writer Nick Land was commonly credited with creating and inspiring accelerationism's basic ideas and concepts. So I did a number of philosophers who expressed anticipatory acceleration attitudes in his 2017 essay, A Quick and Dirty Introduction to Accelerationism. And then Nietzsche argued in a fragment of Will to Power that the leveling process of European man is the great process which should not be checked. one should even accelerate it. So it kind of goes on. But yeah, so there's a whole lot in that Wikipedia. I'm not going to read any more of it, but you get the point. But anyways, so I mean, as far as that episode went, that was a great like mid kind of season. I don't think it's weird to call 4 episodes a mid-season finale. I don't think that's really earns that. Yeah, but it's that direct midpoint part right there. We have like Ahsoka completely, she's kind of as boring as ever, but also like something happened to her at least.
This is a mini series in the way that V was a mini series back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a series of television. It's a mini series.
Yeah.
It's an 8 episode, once a week, sort of, truncated, elongated film-like experience. Like it's not a series. It's a mini series.
Yeah, but right now, I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong, but right now, outside of Andor, this is probably lining up to be like my favorite season of one of these shows, because Mando 1 and 2, I like them, but Mando 1, didn't. I enjoyed myself a lot, but I wasn't like that. That wasn't Star Wars storytelling that was revelatory. You know what I mean? I was just like, okay, yeah, cool, fun.
Nice. You're underestimating Werner Herzog.
Yeah. And then well, season 2, it got the Luke Band-Aid, and I'm kind of like, it works, but it's also the Luke Band-Aid that made it, kind of just elevated. It was a kind of a cheat code to the top.
Remember, when you love that episode and you go and complain about Quantum Mania, same director.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think directors,
I haven't seen it. I never saw it.
When you really think they matter, they don't. They don't matter.
So this episode was the guy who did Quantum Mania. Is what you're saying?
No. The Luke episode on Mando season 2 was Quantum Mania.
But yeah,
this one was Peter Ramsey, right? I think that was a Spider-Verse guy. Was that?
Yeah, I think it was Peter Ramsey. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. It was. So, yeah, I mean, but once again, it doesn't really matter what they've done before. It matters what they do right there on that show.
Yeah, well, I still see. Here's why Andor still wins for me. Because
I took Andor out. I took Andor out. You can't go and then put Andor in. That's not fair. That's like if you ask me who's the hottest Star Wars chick besides Bix, and then you go, well, I like Bix. That's not fair.
And Andor could take women you wouldn't normally be attracted to and be like, I'd kill for that. I'd join Hitler for that woman.
Oh yeah.
Filoni's taking the obviously hot ones, but Gilroy goes, this broad who you wouldn't think, check this one out. Shit. Yeah. Fuck. And then he takes a real hot one and says, let's see how bad we can fuck her up for like 10 episodes. Plays against your expectations.
One last question. Did Sabine just flunk out of Jedi school, you think? You think that's it with her?
No. I think...
Well, no, actually, I know she fights with a lightsaber later on with Ezra, so...
The choice is a decision everyone has to come up against at some point in their training, And I always go like, this is, to me, a problem with the prequels. It should have been a fundamental lesson. Like that choice, does it arrive when you're at the beginning of your training? Because she's at the beginning and you make the wrong choice and you didn't really know better. You weren't prepared. Like Luke made the wrong decision in Empire, leaving Yoda and going to save his friends. Like they were going to be fine without him. All he did was nearly get himself killed and ruin the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like he almost took
he was an accelerationist. No, I'm kidding.
Now, did he join Vader? No. But even if he did, if the whole lesson of Star Wars ultimately is you can make the wrong decision and still come back from it, Sabine did very minor compared to decisions we've seen people make in the past, So it's a lesson to be learned. And if Ahsoka's going to be a person who says the Jedi Order had it wrong, then you have to then be an example to how it could be right. You can't just be like, well, just like you're screwed, kid. Like I don't.
Yeah. Well, no. Like KG says, maybe she's
one
doing
has
it
to
just to get to Ezra, and that's exactly what I think it is. But before that moment, like Ahsoka is literally like, bitch, can I trust you? No. eyes up here, bitch. Can I trust you? And she's like, yeah,
but she never answered.
You got it. Yeah.
No,
you said, you can.
She said, you can. And I'm like, that's not an answer. Like,
that's not a good answer.
I've given my wife enough bullshit answers to know what a bullshit answer is.
Yeah.
You promise you're not going to do that? I promise it won't, I promise nothing. You know me. You know what I'll do.
Yeah. No, but I mean, no. So, I don't know. I would be okay because they kind of keep doing this thing where she has that 1 foot in the Jedi world, 1 foot in the Mando world, and then she keeps putting her foot back in the Mando world and being highly effective. And then when she's in the Jedi world, she's not. So two things about that. The first is if she jumps firmly into the Jedi world, and that's her path, and that's what they're going to do with it. There needs to be a moment that really breaks everything for her and makes it where like this is me, and all of that stuff falls down and can no longer compete. And so I don't know what that can be. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it would be. Did it just fall down? But I don't know what that kind of story beat could be that would be so big for her in this. So I kind of just keep feeling like it's gonna kind of fall back on her just being like a Jedi. And I am curious on a Mandalorian, because you really kind of can't be both necessarily, unless coming to terms with both of those things is the answer. That she can be both, and that's what she is. But I feel like if it turns out at the end of all of that, she's a Mandalorian, and that's what she decides to be, then do we look back on this as being a waste of time? It has to be satisfying if she does choose, I'm just this Mandalorian, that's who I am. Like it has to be satisfying. I'm kind of curious to see how this narrative, if it even does, ties it up. There's always a chance because it ends kind of like we know how it ends, and it doesn't end complete. So with that in mind, they might not need to get to it yet. But Sabine fucked up bad though, because she fucked up bad enough that it's gonna lead to a movie. That's how you know you really fucked up, when you fuck up and then there's a movie because of your fuck up. That's a pretty big fuck up, So, but you there, Rob? I lose you, Rob? I think we lost Rob. I can't hear you, Rob. Well, anyways, I think we're gonna call it here. We've gone an hour and 17, and I'm liking the show. Rob, if you are here, Rob, tell me in the chat. And maybe I'm going down. Nope, we just lost Rob. I think Rob just said he's out. All right. Well, listen, I love you guys. Rob hates you guys. That's why he left. He said he was going to get some smokes, and he's not coming back. But anyways, we'll see everybody pretty soon. We'll do some more shows this week. It's going to be good. I think these next episodes on this are going to get a lot better. I mean, honestly, for this show, I would give it a 9 out of 10. I would give that episode a 9. It was just intriguing. Everything was just super good. It moved. It had a big revelation at the end. It had a cool death. It had a character making a big choice, in it, and making the wrong choice, but which is right, because mid-show you want that wrong choice. That's where, because now the stakes are raised. And so I'm happy. So for the Ahsoka series, I give it like a 9 out of 10. I don't give 10s, for the record, just so everybody knows. I don't give 10s. I don't do it. One time I bought a magazine called Perfect 10, and honestly, that's when I learned that there was no such thing as a perfect 10.
Cannot hear you.
You can hear me? I can hear you. You sound. But anyways, all right, Rob. I'm gonna say bye to Rob.
I'm gonna say goodbye.
Bye. Okay. Penny wants me to go play video games with her, so I gotta go anyway. All right, everybody. We'll see everybody this week. We'll do more Star Wars shows. All right. Bye, Rob. Okay. Rob can't hear me. Rob. Avatar suck. Rob, James Cameron's a hack.
Yep. I'll hear it on the stream.
James Cameron's a hack, and those people not sub, that was his fault. He could have stopped it, but he didn't want to. He was too busy. Yeah. What else you got to say to Rob? He can't hear you. Say whatever you want. Butt cheek. Butt cheek. Say it loud. Say it loud and proud.
Butt cheek.
Butt cheek. Butt cheek. All right. Bye, everybody. We'll see everybody later.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.